Hello, my fellow Americans. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. Groundhog Day, 2013, February the 2nd. Well, let's see. If the groundhog poked his head up here, he'd be seeing his shadow. I don't know if he did or not. I guess I'll have to check it out. Day before Super Bowl. Go Ravens. Thing is, I really hate the Ravens. I just hate the Niners more. Anyway, one of the things I've been thinking about is the problems with government. And what I come up with is government, or the people in government, they usually have a knee-jerk reaction when you want them to do something. Now, I made a video a while ago about common sense, or have a Department of Common Sense. And recently I faced an issue, and I'm still facing it with our little local government over certain things. One thing is the use of the computers at the local library. Now, years ago, the library was part of the city. Then they decided to form their own tax district. See, I live outside the city. But they got me into that tax district, so part of my property taxes goes to the library. And everybody said, oh, library's a good thing. But how can you argue against having a library and supporting a library? Well, now we have this library. I use it. But about a couple weeks ago, I was in the library, middle of the day. I was using the computer. I think they have 7 computers there for the public. And there's 2 ways you can access the computer. You can use your library card, or if you forget your library card, they have these little cards up at the desk that you can take. Now the rule is, each person gets to use the computer for 1 hour per day. That seems okay on the surface. But as you well know, you sit down on the computer, an hour goes by like that. So I happened to be there, and there might have been maybe 1 or 2 other people on the computer, but there was 4 computers vacant. So when I went back up, I wanted to get another slip. They said no. I was like, well, why not? Because the policy is you can only use it, once a day for an hour. But nobody else is using it. So I went to the library board meeting, which I found very interesting. Number one, it was held at 9 a.m. on a Friday morning. I think most people are at work at 9 o'clock on Friday mornings. And also, you had to get to the meeting, you had to go around to the back of the library through the side door. That was propped open instead of through the front door. And how would you even know this? I don't think those secret instructions on finding the right door were posted in the paper. I wouldn't have known. It's just when I went up to the front desk, I asked the day before the meeting, or a couple days before the meeting, the lady told me about going around to the side door. So I get there, and if I'm not mistaken, there's supposed to be 5 board members. Well, there was only 3 present. Once again, it's 9 o'clock in the morning on a Friday. And then there was the recorder or secretary. And so since I was there, they said, oh, we'll listen to you first. So I brought up this event that happened about the use of the computers. They listened, but their immediate response was to tell me all the reasons for the rule, as opposed to saying, well, you know what? What you said kind of makes common sense, because what you're saying is if there's vacant computers and nobody else needs to use them and somebody else wants to continue using it, yeah, it could be a judgment call by the librarian at the desk. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, maybe we'll implement that policy. Instead, they told me about, well, you know, kids come in there and they're using it. It's just like, I understand all that. But you see, government, the people in the government, they see a problem, and what they want to do is they just want to swing things all the way. In other words, the old mentality, you know, if one person acts up in class, then they ruin that whatever for the whole class. So if one kid acts up, everybody gets punished. We all know how we felt when that happened. Yet, somehow, as these people grew older, they must have forgot that experience, or maybe they never had that experience, because they keep applying that logic. Look at what's going on with guns. You get one crazy person shoots them. Oh, let's take away all the guns. Let's take away all the high-capacity magazines. Just swing that pendulum all the way to the other, as if that's going to create a solution or create a better atmosphere. How well did that work with prohibition? How well does that work with methamphetamines and cocaine? I mean, the list goes on. You can't legislate people's behavior. All you can do is put up laws, and then if they violate the law, enforce the law, and deal with the individuals. Because as one person pointed out, if the government was really concerned about children's safety, they would require seatbelts in school buses. But as they say, these issues aren't about safety, they're about control. They're about control. Controlling you and me, we the people. So the next time you're out there, maybe you deal with your government, maybe you don't. But you can just see if their reaction is just that knee-jerk defending whatever law or rule or policy they have in place. But they only do that if it suits them. Because we have immigration laws on the book that our president basically has told the INS and DHS to ignore. Just doesn't make any sense. Just doesn't make any sense at all. But I'm going to be meeting with the city council soon, because as I started out, I was saying how the library used to be part of the city. Well, I guess somehow the city gave the library district land, so now the city can still somehow pull the strings with the library. But if I'm a taxpayer here and I'm paying for the library, then they're going to have to listen to me. And if I can't persuade them nicely, then I just might have to go to battle. Because as I mentioned, I was the only person from the public at that meeting. And as soon as I was done, they mentioned that, you know, they were going to continue. Say, oh, well, I'll stay and I'll just listen to the rest of the meeting. They go, oh no, we're having an executive session. And I didn't think about it at the time because it's been a while since I've been to a library board meeting. And I really wasn't, I really didn't go there to do battle per se. I went there to present my case and to see what happens, because I was told they're not going to make any decisions right then and there. Question is, well, why not? What are you waiting for? You have to get a committee and do a study? But I asked, you know, I was going to stay, and they basically told me I had to go. And then it hit me a few days later. In the public meeting law, if you're going to have an executive session, you have to post notice to the public that you're going to be having this executive session. And I don't think they posted it, which means if they didn't, they're in violation of the public meetings law. And when I went to the library the other day, I asked the lady, where was the agenda of the meeting posted? She goes, well, it was in the paper. And so I tried to find it in the paper. I couldn't. And I went back and I asked her, do you have a copy of the meeting agenda? And she told, oh, the meeting posting. And she said, no. Which I found very peculiar. So, I'm putting this out there. If I find out that they violated the public meeting law, and they don't do as I ask with these computers, then I'm just going to take it up with the State Attorney General's office or the Secretary of State's office. I've done these type of things before. Chances are nothing's going to happen, but it will be on record that this law was violated. And I'll probably make a video about it. I will post it on Facebook. I will write letters to the editor. Because back in the old days, before the internet and YouTube and smartphones and all that, I was a terror with the fax machine. It was funny because I remember going to one county commissioner meeting, county council meeting, and I said something to one official. I said, well, didn't you get my fax? He goes, I've never gotten a fax for you. One of the county commissioners said, well, then you must be the only one in the county, and everybody laughed because they knew that I wielded that fax machine as a pen, because the pen's mightier than the sword. And the one thing that these local politicians or any politicians hates more than anything else is public embarrassment. And I became a master at embarrassing them in public. Because all I had to do was just sit back and watch, observe, and as soon as they crossed the line or did something, I just made it public. It was embarrassing. But I really don't want to have to do that, but I will. Because that's how you just have to do what you have to do to get the job done. And if nobody's sitting at a computer and somebody wants to use it for an extra hour, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be able to use that computer, especially if they're a taxpayer. So I know, my fellow Americans, this probably doesn't affect you. It's more of a personal matter, but I just thought I'd share it with you. Because even at this level, you need to wake up and smell the tyranny.